Keith, I bumped into you last week in Leeds and seemed to be a lot going on up there. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you were doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It was an interesting time. We were up in Leeds for a meeting of the CSU MDs together with the NHS Commissioning Board team, and in particular with Barbara Haken and Andrew Kenworthy. And Andrew Kenworthy is the new director for commissioning support. He's leading on the development of that, so it was really interesting to hear that. Andrew had a few really key points for us. So he talked in particular about what's happening in the next 6 months. He talked about CSU, its accountability and responsibility to the commissioning board, and also where else its accountability might sit. So his key messages really were the next 6 months are going to be incredibly tricky and difficult for us all, because we've got the old system to shut down and the new system to start up. And he was basically saying that we shouldn't underestimate the amount of work that's going to take. And he was also making it clear that we needed to make sure we played our role in both delivering this year and closing down the PCTs and making sure all the finances were in train.
Does that mean they're going to get stricter with us and be policing us more tightly?
No, I don't think so. I think there was an initial fear that might happen, but Andrew was quite clear in what he was saying to us, that our CSU is ours to develop, and it's for me as the MD to make sure we take forward things, and we're not going to get the tight fist of the DH trying to strangle us and stop us from doing what we need to do. But he was saying that we are still part of the system and we need to play our part in that system, and I think that's absolutely right. Down here we've got a very good agreement now between the CCGs, the cluster and ourselves around working to make sure that we continue to deliver this year while we build next year as well. So that was really, really important for us, I think. And very important to hear him saying that, in essence, the commissioning board will act for us a bit like a bank manager or a financial advisor, and will be checking that we have got a financially viable and stable service, but they won't be really pushing down on us in terms of how we're delivering our services and the quality, because that's for our customers, that's for our CCGs to be testing us on. So that was an incredibly good story to hear, an incredibly powerful message to hear. Really does put us where we need to be in terms of developing ourselves. I think the other area then that he talked about was accountability, and he made it quite clear where our accountability sits. And it's a complex picture, but again very important for us and our customers to understand, so that from the 1st of October, my accountability is to the NHS Commissioning Board, to Barbara Haken and Andrew Kenworthy. I still have, and we still retain, a statutory responsibility to the PCTs because they're the statutory bodies. But what is really important is there is absolutely no accountability between ourselves and the local area team. So the local area team and ourselves are entirely divorced, and our responsibility locally sits with our customers. We need to do what our customers want. So that was a very, very powerful message to hear as well, and really important for staff to understand. So they were the key messages from Andrew on the day, and as I said, it was really reassuring to hear that, echoed by Barbara Haken. The rest of the session, obviously, we had yourself down giving us a motivational talk, which I think people found incredibly useful, and generally good session to network with the other MDs to make sure I know who they are, and we can create the links that allow us to draw support and best practice down as well. So very important networking sessions as well.
Excellent, brilliant. And I noticed up there alongside you in a separate meeting were all the finance people. So maybe if I can bring it in-house just a little bit now and ask you what's going on nationally with the CFO appointments.
Yeah, so clearly our CFO is a very important role in our structure, and we've been through the first phase of CFO appointments and didn't recruit to that. The next stage now is that this is a nationally run process, and the NHS Commissioning Board, through a headhunting company, have been finding people who would wish to put themselves forward for the CFO roles for us to interview them under a second wave, if you like. Those names should be released to us next week. And we'll be able to then look at the CVs of those people, meet them, really important. I want to bring them down here to meet the team and have a chat to see if they fit with us. It's really important they fit with our vision and our approach. and then shortlist them, and then we'll interview them, and I'm hoping we'll have a suitable candidate from that pool, which should mean that we'll have a CFO in post this year, this calendar year.
Good stuff. And what else is happening on the senior team?
So senior team appointments then, so I'm at the moment the only person appointed to Commissioning Support South. We've written the job descriptions and are about to go out to adverts for those senior people. So we'll be looking for our HROD and governance lead, for our business performance and business development lead, and for our Chief Information Officer as well. And that would then complete the team with the CFO appointment and myself. So those jobs should go out to advert this week, and we will run an NHS restricted pool initially for at-risk people, and then if we're successful, great. If we're not, we can open that wider to others. But we'll run those two processes concurrently, so we don't have a delay if we're not successful through the NHS process.
Fantastic. And once they're all in place, then that allows you to kind of move forward and run the business and do all of that. So what else is happening with recruitment generally? So
we're for the other posts, we're in the HR transition process as defined nationally. So we've put our structures out as best we understand them at the moment, and we are they're out for conversation and discussion with the staff at the moment. We're hoping to finalise those structures by the end of October. I do have to constantly caveat that though with, as we're going out and meeting other CCGs, we are gaining additional business from Surrey in particular at the moment, and we're having conversations elsewhere. And so our structures will continue to remain fluid. Now that's difficult for everybody because it does mean that we won't have a role in the structure today, but tomorrow we will. So I understand that's really difficult for staff, but I think we need to see the positives, which is other customers outside other CCGs are looking to come and work with us. So that should give us much more, many more opportunities. So we'll close our structures as best we can at the end of October, and then move into the pooling and matching process with an aim to have everybody clear about where they're going to go, be that a CCG, to the LAT or to ourselves by the end of the calendar year. And as much of that variation in terms of new customers we would expect to be able to finalise quite quickly. Again, a message from Leeds was that clinical commissioning groups and the NHS Commissioning Board need to be clear about where they're getting their commissioning support service and what services they want by the end of October. So that should allow us to finalise any changes to those structures very quickly and recruit appropriately. And
who's hosting the CSUs in that environment then?
Yeah, so the Commissioning Board will host the CSUs, and they've said that all along. So we will be hosted through into the Commissioning Board, and all our staff will remain NHS employees for as long as that hosting continues. The detail behind that is we will be hosted by an organisation called the NHS Business Support Agency, which is a body attached to the Commissioning Board. And what that's really important for us and really helpful for us, because one of the concerns about being hosted by the Commissioning Board is we become linked very closely to the local area teams and the performance arm of the Commissioning Board. So our customers can't see the difference between us as a support unit and the people who are performance managing them, and that's always been a concern of mine. By being hosted by the Business Support Agency, still part of the NHS Commissioning Board, it divorces us from that and therefore creates that distance between ourselves and the performance management team. So really important. So staff will have on their pay slips NHS Business Support Agency. It's just a technicality in terms of who owns that. It's the NHS Commissioning Board.
And that's brilliant, because that frees you up to work more closely with your own customers in this case. And I'd like to ask you just a little bit about customers, because that kind of customer environment, will that have an impact on how you run the organisation, how it will need to be structured and how it will deliver services?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we PCTs have always worked in essence around a functional grouping, so a contract function, a finance function, information, HR or whatever. Our approach is clearly around having teams that are working to our customers, and teams that bring together a number of skills and specialties to deliver an overall service. So we want to move away from a functional approach and more into a matrix where it uses the skills that we've got to the best. So it draws those skills together and hopefully creates something that, with each of those skills individually, the totality it gives you more than the individual elements together. And in essence, what I'd say is, for those teams, where a function or an area is successful, that's the team success. Where something doesn't work, that's not the function failing or the function doing it wrong, it's the team. The team will need to take that responsibility and accountability for delivering to their customers. So we really want to get people thinking about how they work together to ensure they get the maximum and deliver the maximum they can for our customers.
Yeah. Brilliant. Keith, I think that's all we've got time for today, but thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
And I look forward to speaking to you next week.
Fantastic.